what I want to read you is this. This whole document is just fascinating to me. But how many are familiar with the Dead Sea Scrolls? When they found the Dead Sea Scrolls? Okay, half of you at least. And in the Dead Sea Scrolls, there's a document called the Essene Gospels of Peace. You guys heard of the Essene Gospels of Peace? Okay, has anybody read it? Nobody's read it? Okay. So most of the Essene Gospels of Peace is Jesus talking. And it's really interesting. I'm just going to read a very short section of it. But I think it's funny because we're in a colon hydrotherapy wellness center. And he talks about taking a gourd and hollowing it out, filling it with water, and inserting it into your hinder parts. Which is amazing. Okay? So, another controversial food, wheat, right? So many people have problems with wheat and gluten intolerances and things like that. Okay? But we know that when you sprout wheat, it's different. It turns into a living food. People suddenly don't have problems digesting it. Okay? So here's a couple excerpts from the Essene Gospels of Peace. He said, prepare your bread, moisten your wheat. So in other words, wet your wheat, so that the water may enter it. Then let it set in the air. Leave it from morning to evening beneath the sun. And the blessings of the three angels will soon make the germ of life sprout in your wheat. There's reasons that some of these organizations out there, like have people heard of Hippocrates Health Institute? They're real big into sprouting foods and sprouting wheat and things like that. This is wheatgrass, okay? It's amazing when you talk about food and what food is. I mean, how many people think when they walk out, okay, now of course we spray our yards with chemicals and fertilizers and all that kind of stuff, but how many would ever even think that the grass on their feet that they walk on is food? Anybody think that way?
Cows eat it.
Cows eat it. Tons of animals eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, hippopotamuses and elephants and the biggest animals on the planet eat grass. Yeah. Grass is food. Wheatgrass. We juice it, and it's one of the healthiest foods on the planet. Again, it's one that people joke about when people are healthy because they drink wheatgrass and they're weird, you know. But we know it's one of the healthiest, most life-giving foods on the planet, and it's grass. You know that all grasses are edible? All those wild grasses and prairie grasses that grow all over out here in Kansas, every single one of those is edible. Not one of them is poisonous.
Unless they poison on.
What's that?
Unless somebody's put poison on.
Well, yes, absolutely, yeah. But we don't think in those terms. And I only say that because, again, God's made all these things as food for us. And we're turning away from that to the processed stuff. And I think it's time to turn back. Not saying go outside and clip a bunch of grass and start eating it. But just to understand. And especially think about other countries and other nations. I mean, how many people are starving because they don't have food? A lot of those places where they don't have food, they have grass. But they don't even know they can eat that. You know? You can go to some of these communities and just plant a couple crops and they can live, they can survive, but they have no education, no knowledge of this kind of stuff. So food is everywhere. If things get crazy in this world, it's pretty crazy already, but if they start to get really crazy, just know and understand that just run out in the woods and everything you need to survive is out there. Okay? Just find me, I'll help you.
Dandelion.
What's that?
Dandelion greens.
Absolutely. Dandelion's an amazing food. Plantain. I mean, there's so many things that grow around us that are amazing foods.